Hi, I'm Reverend Natalie Jean, and this is Earlene Germain, and we're here with you back again with the Infinite Elevation Hour. Earlene's here today. She's going to talk about art journaling, and we're going to focus on crystals. And I myself will focus, yes, yet again, on Emma Curtis Hopkins and the wonderful joys of the current events that are going on in the world today. So how was your day, Earlene?
It was quite eventful. And how was yours?
Mine is beyond busy. I can't even explain how busy I am, but I probably need about 20 clones with everything that I am doing at this current moment. So you say yours was eventful. How eventful was it? What made your day eventful?
Just a combination of scheduling and going from work to school and then coming here. So I think that made it quite eventful, and the different people that you meet, the different places that you come from, and the traffic. So I guess that's why I say it's eventful, because you know, you have those days where not much goes down, and then there are days where everything goes down, and you're like, whoa, what happened in a matter of 24 hours? So it was quite eventful for me.
Alrighty then. Well, today's current events, we're going to talk about, let me see, so much has happened. We haven't been on the air since, I believe, October. I think October, the beginning of November was the last time that we were on. So a lot of things have happened in the world. Obviously, we know that Obama became the president once again. Hooray, hooray. And then we had what I would call, let's talk about the shooting thing of these kids. 26 people died in Sandy Hook Elementary. And while I see that as devastating, it's sad when you see children, when you see anybody die. It's not devastating when you just see a child die, but people seem to cling more when the children are very young. And, you know, this is a horrific thing that occurred. However, when I first heard of the situation, I started thinking, first, you know, you want to understand why somebody would do something like this. And, you know, they called the shooter so many ugly names, which I don't think is fair. The act itself was ugly, yes, but we don't know what that person is going through, why he would do such a thing. Everybody on this earth is put on this earth to do something. Was he put on this earth to, you know, everything comes out when somebody has done something. So this experience, what has it brought out? It has brought out the idea of gun control. It has brought out that we need to change certain laws about these handguns or semi-automatic weapons. Don't know why anybody needs that one, except if you're in the war. It's brought up a lot of questions. Now, many people that believe in karma will give you this answer. They will say that those kids, those people that died in their past lives, did something so heinous that they got retribution there. Some people will tell you that these children, these people that passed on, they signed a contract before they came into this incarnation saying they would sacrifice themselves to be the people that would die during the shooting. If you're Catholic, you're going to believe that, you know, the person's insane, he's evil, and all this stuff. And that's why this happened, to take innocent lives. I mean, it's tragic any way that you look at it. So what comes out of it? Because there is a clear message that comes out of it. You know, I am a firm believer that we shouldn't take anybody's rights away from them. You know, there are laws for a reason. There are a constitution for a reason. However, I do believe in the different laws that they want to put on gun control, like having mental evaluations. I think that's sane. Somebody that wants to own a gun should basically get a mental evaluation. I believe that they should get it once a week, just because, you know, people can flip out. And if you're living in a home with a child that's already seems unstable, why would you have a gun in the home? I think they should evaluate everybody that's in the house. You don't know if that child is going to get up one day, pick up the gun, and shoot the entire family, which happened just a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, and the fact that, you know, people shouldn't have semi-automatic weapons and all the cartridges that come with that stuff, I really don't know much about it. Why should a person have semi-automatic weapons in their home? They're not at war. Now, some people answered on the Piers Morgan show that, oh, if you have a bunch of people coming at you, you would need that. Why would you have a bunch of people coming at you unless you're in war? I don't understand that. But I am a firm believer that people should have the right to bear arms. It is their right in the Constitution. But now there should be limitations. Almost every week you hear about some person in a school shooting somebody. Every week since then. Somebody has been shot up in some school. You know, people are getting angry. The people that are getting bullied are fed up. You know, and thank God for some teachers that will stand up and say, you know what? This kid came into a school, was ready to shoot 2 of his bullies. He ended up shooting 1 and he had to go to the hospital, but they talked him out of shooting the other. Now, there are brave people that will stand up and say, you know what, you can't do this, and they get through these people at this time. But it's not always going to be the case. We need to get to a point where you've got to be a certain age, there's got to be some restrictions, because we are living in a world where now, you know, you don't know if you're walking out, your child doesn't know if they're walking out the door, if that's going to be their last. And that's not the way it has been in the United States. I remember growing up. Growing up, we could go outside, run around, do hopscotch, jumping jacks, whatever, outside. And it was like nothing. Now we're in the 21st century. Kids don't play outside. They're inside. They're playing video games. They don't know what the weather even feels like on their skin, whereas I do. But it's a different world. Kids are killing kids. People are getting angry at their bosses, killing people all over the place. It is a sad, sad day in the universe. But all these things can be changed by the fact that if we all come together as spiritual people and start denying the existence of this hatred and this bullying and all these things that are going on in this world, then we will see a different world. We can't, you know, envision a world at peace when we're still harboring the idea that there is so much hate and illusion in this world. We have to keep steady on what God wanted us to do, is just basically love one another. And we really need to work on these kids that are bullying, because they are going through some traumatic thing where they have to take out their feelings on somebody else. Maybe they're gay too, and they're picking on a kid that's gay, and they can't just deal with it. Or maybe they feel that they're not intelligent enough, and they pick on the kid that's smart, that may look a little nerdy, whatever. And so they're dealing with such turmoil. You know, people want to help the kids that are being bullied, and that's fine. But we need to delve deep into why these kids are attacking other people. What's going on? Why aren't the parents more involved in teaching these kids how to love? Because right now, I'm tired of turning on the TV and everything you see is that kids are bearing arms and they're going into school and they say, really, you're going to bully me? Let me shoot you. And what they don't realize is that they've just ruined their lives, because they're going to end up going to jail. It is up to us as spiritual people to really start to heal this universe, you know, with a great amount of love. So, Erlene, what do you think of the subject?
Well, you spoke on many different aspects of it. It was a tragedy, what happened in December around the holidays. I work with children, so when I saw what was going on, I don't remember, I think my boyfriend told me, did you see what happened? And then because I don't really watch television, in the sense that I don't like to be impacted by negative things constantly being bombarded at you, who got shot, this and that. But for this particular event, it was really devastating to see such young souls, very innocent, because I work with children around the age group, and then when the president addressed it and he named everyone's name, I think I lost it at that point, just in that they didn't have a chance to live their life. And I don't know, even if they signed a contract, I don't think it still justifies the act, you know, because I feel there probably should have been more protection at the school, but then who goes into a school, you know, to shoot up kids, you know? So I guess with this new age that we're coming into, security on all levels, you know, has to be questioned because it's not the same. I do agree with that. But then at the same time, I think if we put in our minds, you know, in the human consciousness, you know, if you feed into the fear, into the anxiety, into, you know, that's more and more of that's what you're going to see out here. But if we're more positive and we stand together on making changes, and I think that's key, because right now, especially on the political side, there's a lot of separation, you know. A lot of things need to be addressed, but there's no agreement between two parties because we're not willing to agree to disagree about certain things. We're not really willing to concede on certain things. You know, it's like a give and take type of thing, but one person wants to be always correct. And when this happens, it tends to trickle down on those who don't have a voice or who don't have rights, and I can go into immigration with this, or, you know, there's so many different things to look at. It's not just that tragedy, because everything is connected, you know, and I feel that we can learn from what happened, and yes, we can toughen up on the laws, we can make it more difficult, but everybody is guaranteed that right, like you said in the Constitution, to bear arms. And most people, and it also, you have to look at demographics, like where you live. Some areas might be more in need of guns, and I'm not talking about urban areas or cities, but like just survival, you know. What if you live out in the woods, and I'm not saying a bear is going to come and attack your house, but you know what I mean, like, I don't know, you know, but that's a reality for some people, you know. It just depends on where you are. But then I do agree with you. Why do you need such a heavy arm gun? Like, what is that about? And then making it accessible to children. If you're going to have something like that in the house, I don't think your child should know where it is. Just the other day, a few months before this incident, someone got shot at a school in D.C. And the child ran home and got a gun and brought it back. So how did he know where that was, you know? So that falls on the responsibility of the adult or the parent, you know. I guess the question is, are we being responsible parents? You know, have we thrown off parenting to someone else instead of taking the task fully? If you know your child has issues or has a problem, are you seeking help for them and not hiding and masking it? You know, I don't know if that is a stigma for some people, you know, if their child has a disability or is kind of strange, or, you know, oh, no, we must hide that fact. Or should we seek help from the church, from the doctor? I don't know. You know, there's so many different, from friends, family, there's so many different avenues, but I think the issue too is if you try to solve something by hiding it, you know, eventually, like you said, it's going to come out into the light, and it's going to be there's a need to address it. So I can't give you like a quick answer about it, Natalie, because I think it's so multi-layered in any way you look at it. I do agree that the incident did bring us together on some levels around the holidays, from the perspective of it's not only about me now, you know, because I was really touched by how many people sent cards, they sent flowers, they sent their support. Firemen, police officers left where they were and went up into the community, you know. So on that level, I mean, I always congratulate those that think outside of themselves to help another, you know, because it's not easy to drop what you're doing for someone else sometimes. But, Yeah, I think that sums up what I have to say about the incident, but I do agree that times have changed, and the way that we are moving, it is much more heavily technology based, even with our children, with school, with learning, with play. Everything is just centered around that. So I guess the challenge for us is to still, you know, make sure your kids are real. Are they tapped in to reality, you know?
Right.
And not just always plugged in and hooked up to something, and then living in a pseudo imagination, you know, another world, like a virtual world, because, you know, some of those video games are violent.
Mm-hmm.
And some kids might not be able to differentiate, like, you know what, that's a game and this is reality, you know? So where
Right.
does the line get drawn, you know, and who bears that responsibility? So
by no means did I try to justify the deaths of those 26 people. However, everything on this earth happens for a reason. And what's interesting to me in our country is that these things are becoming more prevalent day to day. And I think there's a reason for that. Because when you look at the Middle East, you look at the stuff that they go through every single day. These are people that can put one toe outside and don't know if they're going to come back ever. Because there's always bombings around, people doing suicide bombings and things like that. And when we're over here, when we see that, there are people that'll be sad about it. And then they'll forget about it.
mm-hmm.
And those people go through that every day. But when something happens here on our soil, we tend to, oh my God, it happened here. Oh my God, this can't happen here. And when it happens here, people are, you know, running, like you said, running to rush to help and do this and do that. For me, things like this start to happen here because we're not conscious of the things going on over in other countries. Like, so there's so many people that'll say, well, I don't think we need to help other countries, this, that, and the other. What people have forgotten, this universe is God's universe. So we need to start, you know, caring about everybody. It's not just about the United States, it's about everybody. I mean, thousands and thousands of men, women, and children have died overseas. Even our own military have gone over there and they've been killed for nonsense, But the tragedy is that when something happens here, it grows to be this big thing, yet every single day in other countries this is going on. And I find that more and more we're going to see things happen here, which is tragic. Because our eyes need to be opened. And there's not everybody that, there are a lot of people that care about what happens overseas, what happens here, but there are more people that just care about what happens in their own place. And they're affected more by what happens in their own place. I'm affected by things happening around the world. I'm affected when they kill animals for hunting. I'm against hunting. You know, I'm against hunting for pleasure. For the fact I got into an argument with one of my friends that I went to visit. He has a bear on his wall. I don't want to see that. Why do you have that on? That bear had family. That bear might have had children. You know, for me, it's the most horrific thing to see people just do that for hunting. But to each his own. That's my own personal thing. But the reality is that if we don't come together as a spiritual people, these things are going to continue to happen here in the United States because people tend to wear blinders on when it's happening somewhere else. I know somebody that will always say, you know, yeah, it's good to pray for other people, for other countries and other stuff, but we need to focus on here first. And I'm not a firm believer in that. I believe that we are powerful enough as people, as spiritual people, to pray for an entire universe and see a dramatic shift, a dramatic change in the universe.
Right, but I mean, Natalie, I'm not saying that that's too idealistic or anything, but I think the reality is this is America. The bottom line for many people is I'm an individual, I'm in a capitalistic society, and it's about me.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just the mentality out there.
That's right.
And it starts from the top all the way to the bottom. You know, you're at the bottom, you're trying to get up to the top, you know. And sometimes people will kick other people to get there. The other part of it is going back to a communal society where, you know, it's about the community helping one another and this and that. And it is a spiritual movement. It has spiritual roots, and it's a shift in thought, you know. And I'm not sure what has to happen, if something more tragic has to happen. I don't wish that, you know what I mean? But there are, and if you look at, I guess, the world, there are moments where just out of nowhere stuff happens. And you're like, oh my God, tsunami, it happens, earthquake, it happens, you know. And I think it shakes people, but it doesn't necessarily probably get you because it's not directly affecting your daily bubble, your existence, because...
That's for some people.
For some, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying for probably a majority of people, because not many people...
Care.
If that's the word, care, or are willing, I want to say more so, willing to leave my comfort zone to feel your comfort zone, to feel your pain. You know, it's like, why would I subject myself, or even, maybe I can't even think what it feels like to walk outside my door and there's a bomb going off.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I've had it really good.
Exactly.
But at the same time, should I be judged, or is it my fault that I am growing up like that? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's not your fault, but as a human being, as a person that has a heart and conscience, if you truly feel, if you're in a spiritual field, or if you're a spiritual person, it should affect you.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It should.
But I'm saying if you're just my scenario was if you're just not aware of anything,
if you're not spiritual,
this
then
is
it's
how,
not going to affect you.
And this is how, you know, and you see that stuff, okay, like, you know, it's just like whatever, you know. And some people might go to church, but they might not be spiritual in tune. Do you know, I could say that statement because I used to be one of them. I go to church, but I didn't really know what was going on. I was just going there, you know. So I think it's just different perspectives, different ways of looking at stuff, because not everybody is spiritual. And I guess the question is, how do we become more spiritual?
Well, the thing is that everybody that is studying spirituality, they get to a point where they're going to understand this concept. There is a concept of the veil, okay? The veil is the veil of human conditioning. Like one of the things that you said is about humanity. You know, sometimes we're raised a certain way. We just don't think about. That's a human trait. 100% human trait. Mm-hmm. So those that are willing to go further and beyond what they are, what they've grown to be in the human aspect of world, will see when they lift that veil, they're going to see the reality. They're going to be able to feel when you turn on the TV or you read the news and you hear about a baby's limbs being blown off in another country. Mm-hmm. But what happens is that the effect of people not caring triggers something here. And it's not God that's doing it, it's we as a people doing it because we've been too comfortable in our lives to not understand the pain that these people are going through in other countries. People don't understand Haitians. Let me tell you, most of the time stereotypically, you know, when it comes to Haitian people, a lot of people that I knew, they would think that the Haitian people are into voodoo. Haiti's the poorest country. Most people didn't even know that there was a country named Haiti. Dirty, all kinds of things. And then the earthquake happens. And people are like, they're shocked. Oh my God, there's a country called Haiti? There's poor. How many people died? And for a while there, people were just, oh, let me donate money. Let me donate more. I'm going to do this. And then it stopped. One person that I love to death is George Clooney. Because George Clooney, at one of the Oscars said, we can't forget about Haiti. We can't just say we're going to donate money when it happens. We have to continue the progress. So what happens is that people are living with this veil thinking, oh, well, it's not going to happen here. And yet there are going to be things that are going to start happening here because it's going, and there needs to be a wake up call for people. And that's why I believe, in my own opinion and understanding, is that things start to happen here because we need to be woken up. Even in my own personal life, you know, I was somewhere learning, listening to people preach about certain things, and my eyes were open to certain things. And that's when I decided to take my feet out because I started to see that there's a worship system and there's an abuse system that's going on in the sense of trying to stagnate people, not letting them see the true reality of spirituality. People trying to bring you down because they're unhappy with their own lives. How do we get people to realize that they have to care about everybody? You know, we have to start embracing people as they are. Mm-hmm. We have to start nurturing and loving people as they are, whether they agree with our own religious or spiritual beliefs. We just have to love. And that's where there will be a shift in consciousness. There will be a change. Now, you're not going to change. I would love to be able to change everybody. But God, in his infinite wisdom, gave us free will. Mm-hmm. So we can decide whether we're going to be people that care about one another or just care about a specific group or not care at all and just love to be by themselves. But for each person that has a decision to make, they're going to be woken up by something. Because we all get woken up. At a certain age, everybody on this planet gets woken up. They start to question their lives. They're like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? Why am I here? Why are the trees here? Why is the sky blue? They start to question every single person on this earth. Yet there are people that will choose to further it and try to understand their connection to the universe. Mm-hmm. And there are people that will say, you know what, I don't need to understand this. You know, I'm living my life. I have my money in the bank. I can just live the way that it is. But each person is going to go through something that's going to push them to try to awaken. And, you know, God's message, it is all about love, loving one another. And this is why we do the infinite elevation hour, because we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this at all. But it is about bringing enlightenment to people, bringing a clear message about what people need to do in regards to what's going on around our universe. And so it brings me into the next phase, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is this whole controversy about this waitress that waited on this pastor.
I don't know it, sorry.
So this waitress waited on this pastor. She brought the bill. And then so the bill said you had to give 18% gratuity. The pastor, Alois Bell, says, why should I give you 18% when I give God 10%? So I don't believe that she gave the tip. So the waitress decides to post it online. And she got 1 million hits. And so, and people were just, they were shocked by the behavior of the pastor. One people has said, well, you shouldn't even be giving God 10%, you should be giving God 100%, which is correct. Mm-hmm. And so the pastor came back to the place where she, you know, the lady waited on her. And she actually apologized to the restaurant. Or no, she came to the restaurant and said, oh, you know, because of the fact that the lady posted the thing online, people have been targeting her, this, and she said she is ashamed, you know, she doesn't know what was wrong with her that day, blah, blah, blah. They ended up firing the girl. Now, what this pastor has done is taken food out of this girl's mouth. And she had a right to put the receipt online if she wanted to. And this pastor who represents God, represented God in the most horrendous way. Now, I found the church where this woman is, and I emailed her today while I was in the car waiting. And I basically said, you need to self-reevaluate what it means to serve God and what it means to serve your brothers and sisters. Because that person that was serving you, that was God in front of you. And you wanted to deny God 18%. So that means that you are trying to deny yourself everything. It is tragic that a pastor who's supposed to represent love and giving, wanted to deny one of God's children the tip that she deserved. And apparently the waitress did deserve the tip. I was a waitress. And I don't condone bad waitressing at all, because I know how hard it is, and I know the attitude that somebody has to have when they are waiters or they are waitresses. And I'm a very good tipper because I know what they make an hourly rate, and they live off of their basic tips. I just find it appalling because of what a minister or pastor stands for, that this person would have written this on the receipt. And some people may say that the girl didn't have the right to go and post it online. But that's where our Constitution comes in. She was upset that somebody would write something like this. It's vulgar to write something like this when somebody's on their feet almost 12 hours a day serving somebody else so that you can have a pleasant meal. And to turn around and tell them that they are not deserving is very shocking, especially when you're in the business of trying to heal people. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not really sure because I've been a waitress and I know the system and the tips. But you bring it up and it was interesting because I think it was about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I went out with a group of friends and the bill came and we split it. And he had put his credit card in the little folder. They ran it and he signed for it. And I guess they had ordered some expensive drinks or something. I don't drink myself, but their bill was higher.
Right.
I always try to give at least 20%, depending on the service, you know. I'm not going to lie. That does have a lot to deal with it because I know what goes into it and if you're good and if you're not good. Because I have been in situations where there hasn't been good service. But to get back to the story, the waiter comes back and gives everybody a thing. And I guess he forgot his credit card in the thing. And he says to the guy, "You didn't give me enough tip."
Oh, wow.
And we were at a Mexican restaurant. And the reaction was kind of alarming because from the waiter's perspective, I get it. And then from maybe the kid's perspective, he probably doesn't have that much money.
Right.
Because he put the money into the drinks,
right.
you know? So I saw the whole thing go down. So you're looking at both sides and you're like, oh, crap, this is not good, you know? And he just is kind of like in shock. And I think he scratches it out and puts a little bit more on it. But I'm not sure he really had it to cover it, you know? But I just bring that story up because it kind of is similar because the waitress and the waiter, you know, they come back. And she comes back in a way of putting it online, and he comes back and is like, yo, what's going on? So, I don't know. At that instance, I was kind of mad at the waiter for coming up to the table because I'm like, okay, if that's what he has, that's what he's got. But on his end, he's supporting himself. So I guess the question is, why are wages so low for waiters?
Well, they're
when the house
trying
is
to boost that now.
Yeah, when the house is taking a pretty hefty amount. And I know liquor don't cost what they charge you, okay? A bottle of liquor one glass can cover the charge of a bottle of liquor, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think they need to shift that in a way, and I think that's why some restaurants put the gratuity
Oh yeah, now they're
to protect waitresses and waitresses, because I know if you go to the Cheesecake Factory and you have more than like
yeah,
6 or 7 people, they automatically add that. And then if you want to tip on top of that,
yeah,
you know, you can. So I think that's a good policy, you know, because when you put your heart and soul, and if you've been on your feet all day, yeah. But then there's the flip side. I've had really terrible service. And no, I am not giving you a tip because you did not do what you were supposed to do. I'm not going to go into it because it was racially stimulated, but it's just, you know, you've had like bad service and you're like, wait a second, where are our service? Or even it's not even about service. It's about like, I'm a human being, I'm coming here and I'm hungry. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So I see where both sides are, but I would step back and look at the restaurant. I don't agree with them firing her over the issue, you know what I mean? Especially since she does have that freedom to do that, to put it up on Facebook or wherever she posted that, and I wasn't really aware of the story. And the pastor, you know, it's a woman. She's coming from her perspective about tithing probably, but then again, you know, she is in an authoritative position, you know, and should lead by example. So that's what I'm going to say about it.
I go to the Cheesecake Factory all the time, and we went there last weekend, and the service was deplorable.
Which one did you go to?
The one at White Flint.
Oh, okay.
It was deplorable. And I've only had bad service there one other time. I had to tell him what was on the menu. He didn't tell us what the specials are. I had to ask everything. And so I'm sitting across my mother, and I'm like, you know, I'm not giving a tip. I always say that I'm not giving a tip. He said, well, Natalie, she goes, you don't know what that person's going through during the day. Maybe he had a bad day. And I understand those aspects, but as I tell my mother, I said it does not matter. You're in a service industry. No matter what is going on in your life at the time, you have to suck it up. It's just like that in my job. Even if we're going through something, we have to suck it up, and I still have to answer the phones and be like, hey, you know, on the phone. I cannot tell them, I cannot let them see if I'm going through something. I still ended up giving him a nice tip because, you know what, I understand. I don't like bad service at all, but I can understand when people go through things, and he seemed to be overwhelmed at his job. I can tell you that one time, my friend and I, when we were younger in college, we went to this, it was a deplorable service. I think we left her a quarter. Because the service was so bad. But now that I'm older, I wouldn't do that.
No, I don't recall if I left a tip, or if I did, it was not as great. But like, it got to the point where I think like an hour and a half and no food, like just a long time. And then when it came, I just lost my appetite from being so angry, you know. So then it was kind of like, and I told them, I was like, I'm not even going to eat this. Like, you know, it's just like, why am I here? You know, you got to the point where I don't even feel like being here any longer. This is not pleasurable experience, you know. So why should I give money for something that doesn't work out, you know? So I think when it gets to that level, but if you enjoyed yourself and you got a hearty meal and, you know, your belly's full, the person was polite and nice, brought you everything you asked for, did their job to the fullest, you know, I think, being rude in the sense of not giving a tip is not acceptable, you know.
There is funny because now there's some restaurants that will allow their wait staff to question the patrons. If they didn't give the right tip, they'll say, you can ask them, you know.
Really?
Was this,
well, maybe that's what happened when we went out, because when it did happen, that was the first time I'd seen it, you know, because being a waitress, like, you were not supposed to do that. You were, no.
Allow them to do that.
That would be grounds for termination, you know what I mean? Go back to the table like, excuse me, and, you know, the way he did it, too, wasn't like, it was like, you know, it was like, okay.
Yeah,
now
because I think The problem is that a lot of wait staff get stiffed now. I mean, there's certain people I refuse to wait on after a while, because there's a certain type of group of people that you know that are going to not tip you so high. And it's just education. Some people are not educated enough on knowing how to tip, what to tip. I'm always online with the tip calculator sometimes to help me figure it out if the bill is really high. But you know, that whole thing is tragic for that pastor, because now she's reaping what she sows. So we're going to take a little break. And next time we come back in a couple minutes, Erlene is going to show us art journaling. So see you in a bit. Hi, so we're back with the Infinite Elevation Hour. Erlene is now going to teach us about art journaling.
Thank you. So I just wanted to share really quickly something new that I'm kind of into right now, which is art journaling. And what it is, like, I think in a past episode or two, I did some journaling, like regular journal. But now there's a great new thing you can do, and you can dedicate maybe 2 entries a week, once a week, whatever you want. And I just went to the art store and bought myself a really cool jumbo-sized notebook, sketchbook, I guess you could call it. But this one's a mixed media, because I intend to do different things in here other than just straight maybe pencil and ink or something. So it's not really detail oriented yet, because I just kind of started. I made a really wonderful intro page just with my name. And what I started to do was use some paint in there. And I also glued in a wonderful little star that I have, several of them, and you know, just jazzed it up. And I also included a little bit of a journal entry with it to maybe remind myself, hey, this is my first one, J1, and a little bit about how I was feeling when I did the artwork. And I actually got this idea from a teacher, so don't think I'm like the brainiac of this, but it's kind of helped me expressively. I went to the inauguration, and I got a little bit inspired by some of the patriotic songs. I think they were singing My Country 'Tis of Thee. I went ahead and found that online, pasted that. Also have some old Uno cards, thinking about freedom is the gamble. Not saying you gamble with Uno cards, but you know, that's what I have in my collection. And I also did another acrylic, but this is also with some Conti chalk and of the Statue of Liberty, but I kind of ran out of space because I like to draw a little big, and the page isn't that big. So I only show this to show that you can get really creative with a little bit of things. Last but not least, I'll share something that's not really done yet, but I did explore with some pastels. Not really one of my favorites, but drew a little duck on the water. The water is actually acrylic, but I try to mix them because I was trying to be a little bit more free and not just stick to one medium. So I believe that we all can achieve different things, you know, if we put our mind to it. And art, many people think, oh, you have to be an artist, you have to go to school, but you really don't, because it's within, I believe, everyone. Anything is art. If you go to the museums, you'll even see that. All right, so that's one thing about a journal, a little art book that you can do. And it'll be pretty neat in the end if you know, show that off to, even if you have kids or colleagues or something, you know, leave it out at home, you know, on your coffee table. Look what I've been doing, you know. Another thing that I kind of worked on, this was a while ago, I made this feather book. Got the inspiration to make it like a wing. It was actually when I met my boyfriend. Prior to meeting him, I felt like something was going to happen, and anyhow, I had to do a project, and I said, okay, let me see how creative I could get. And I actually had to had an idea to use acrylic again, my favorite, but to actually put it on some kind of like translucent paper, some white paper, but to go around my letters. And I made this whole long poem, and I chopped it up with typography. And then I also incorporate some pictures, because I went up into Wheaton at the, there's a botanic garden or something of that nature, and just photographs and stuff, some scenery to go along with it. And just got really cool with it and life about it. So I just, do you mind if I read the poem real quick? All right. So here we go. It's called New Love. The open road lies ahead, a gravel path is there to walk ahead. Footsteps of past journeys mark a way to reveal the day ahead. Open is the way of truth, step through and you will see it is a breath away, new life forever days. A mission we must accomplish, revealing beauty and honor, catch it if you can. In life there seems to be energy of love all around, stillness and peace I must unleash to gain some sanity. The birds all around make a lovely sound, revealing a song to warn of new love, and chants waiting on command. Thank you for the beauty you give and the insightful gifts. I am forever indebted in your love. I welcome it from above. Firmly strong I stand, holding secrets of generations past, a strong foundation for your pain. I hear and judge not in vain. Perfection has its cost, a beauty of discipline together forever. Without delay, bouncing up to heaven, it is the way. Around and around we go, till I stop where to go. I listen quietly for my answers, the questions linger in the air. Deep beneath the bird's song, I hear your tick and talk. It's time to rock. Follow the flow, be free from fear, no room in here. Zen, my friend, thank you with much love. Purify, cleanse, peace, deny, shine, freedom, I feel you in my vibe. Take hold of my heart, on eagle's wings I fly and leave it all behind. Moment past, rest in now. So, I'm about to cry. I didn't remember me writing this, but you know, I guess everything happens in the moment, and this was like a time where you could sense stuff about to happen, you know. I don't know if that ever happens to you, but it doesn't really happen just yet. So I had this quiet moment, and I kind of wrote this. And just to show what you can do, you know, these are outside of me printing, that costs a little. But even if you try to do this at home, and what I use for my wing flaps are just canvas paper that you can buy, and I cut them in the shape identical and added the feathers for decoration. So thank you for listening and being in tune. And I really, really wish others out there can just explore with art. Just start little by little, do little things, even poetry. You know, write one line, a haiku. You'll be good.
All right, so that was the art journaling and a poem by Earlene Germain. So you too can write. Everybody can write something, put it in a journal, get your artwork out there. Everybody can do it. If you were born from God, you can do anything that you want to in this world. So now we're going to focus on my girl, Emma Curtis Hopkins. Gospel series in spiritual science. But before I get into that, I want people to know that the New Thought movie that is coming out is actually coming out February 19th. You'll be able to purchase it on Amazon.com. That should be a wonderful movie that really will explain what the whole aspect of New Thought is and how you can get into New Thought if you so choose, about living a life that is just full of positivity, having love in your life, doing away with negativity, just being able to see the good everywhere. That is the whole aspect of the New Thought movement. And you know, my girl, Emma Curtis Hopkins, was a major, major person in there. All right, so here we talk about the law of words, and this is from gospel series in spiritual science. One of my favorite books by Emma, but you know I love them all. The word good is already in your mind, and I have already demonstrated it. When sorrow comes to you, refuse the cup. I took it, and I assure you that there is no virtue or credit in thinking sorrow belongs to you. When death comes claiming your loved ones, refuse the cup. I tasted death once and found it no part of life. When poverty comes, refuse the cup. I tasted poverty once and found it all a delusion. In the good there is plenty and to spare. God is love. Love makes your life easy. When anything comes claiming to belong to you that would hurt you, say boldly in my name and by my authority, I refuse the cup. Jesus Christ told me I need not drink it. You will find this truth will bring angels to fight your cause as they fought for Elisha. Angels are perfect thoughts in action. The regular announcement of what is true are all the time working with us and for us and by us. But when the daily delusions caused by words we formerly spoke come around us, we may say, I refuse them. Put far from me sorrow and pain. Put far from me all human experiences that Jesus Christ told me I need not bear. This is the clearing of my mind from its errors, as the cloud parted the earth when the planet was dividing the waters from the waters. Moses saw this and said, let there be light. The light within is the truth within. The light without is the truth without. The truth is one. The within and without are one. The truth is within us. Open all the gates of the mind. The second gate of the mind is its denial of all mixtures of evil with its good. Swing boldly open the gates of denial. Regard no appearance against your holiest convictions. It is when appearances formed by error combat our reasoning of what ought to be that we do not speak boldly if we listen to what claims to be true but is not true. Only the good is true. Only what is unmixed good is the outward signal of the boldly spoken truth which is written on the tablets of our own mind, waiting to be spoken. No external process will give us a sight of good, no legislation, no combination of charitable movements, no philanthropic scheme will work the sight of the kingdom of heaven into our eyes. The deep things of the soul, of the heart, must be reasoned out or told aloud definitely, to be seen as the accomplished experiences. We make our world by our words. And this is the thing that's so important here. We make our world by our words. So everything that is happening in our experience is what we have created by everything that we have said. So why not use powerful, wonderful, vibrant, good words to project what you want on your path of illumination? But only that world is real and true, which is good. Thus only true words have any reality in them. All true words are those which tell of what ought to be. That which our soul knows of what ought to be is that which is. All that we feel ought not be is not. This world that appears to our senses has power to hurt is not real. It is the product of our saying that what ought not be is. All great minds refusing to believe in the necessity of evil have come to one conclusion. This is their conclusion. There is a kingdom on the earth, though it is not of it. A kingdom wider than the bounds of the earth, though they were rolled together as fine as gold and spread by the beating of hammers. Why must this kingdom be so wide? To take in the innumerable company of those who have washed their robes white. Robes are covering of the soul. We wash these thought robes clean by truth. Truth is written within our hearts. Only those who speak truth can enter into the sight of the glory of the kingdom of heaven, or the true world at hand, where there shall not be a lying tongue found among all its inhabitants. All that hides us from the sight of our everlasting home is the neglect to speak forth the denials within our mind. The denials are like the parting of curtains. The denials lift the veil of delusion from our faces. Let me repeat that because I was talking about that earlier today. The denials are like the parting of curtains. The denials lift the veil of delusions from our faces. We waken. The nightmare of human experience closes. See? The nightmare of human experiences closes. So the thing is that Emma is trying to tell you is that we are living in a nightmare. This human conditioning is just a nightmare. Because if we opened our third eye to see the reality of spirituality, this world would be totally different. And it comes, you know, when you read her teachings, you're going to have a better understanding that the world we live in is not the true world. That once we open, it's almost like going into another dimension if you believe in that. Once our eyes are truly open and we can really accept God in our lives and understand the oneness or whatever we call God, we will have a different type of existence. But we're still learning as humanity to let go because we try to control things. We want to be in control of everything. I've decided this year I'm letting go. Letting go in everything. We do not die, but we open our eyes and find that all is as a dream that claimed to be pain, disappointment, misfortune. In Isaiah, we find prophecies of this teaching. It is said, after that, one shall come who shall not judge after the sight of the eyes, nor after the hearing of the ears, that an ensign shall be lifted up, and unto it all the nations shall come. All nations have this law written within their mind and deep within their hearts. They all love the good and choose that their good there shall be no mixture of evil. So we must today decide how we're going to live our lives. Are we going to be stuck with this veil lifted on our eyes? This veil that is clearly placed on our eyes so that the thing that is telling us that there is no God is allowing us to keep this veil over our eyes. We need to truly decide how we're going to live our life. You can't complain that you don't have this and that in your life because it is you that have put the lack in your life by your thoughts, your actions, and your words. So you need to decide really if you want to be happy, if you want to be content, if you want to understand that there is good for you and you ought to have it. Because that good is right there. God is always telling you and pushing you and trying to tell you, look, just look unto me and be ye saved. Let go, let go, let go, let go. Let me do my work, as a father should say. So take the time to decide how you want to live your life, because you are the person that's in control. God is ready and able to do it at any moment. But don't keep pressuring God and okay, when? Because that's when you doubt. You have anxiety and you have fear and you don't believe. You've got to know that God is working out the plan, and the plan is turning out right. All is in divine timing and right action. So decide for yourself if God is what you truly want in your life, or spirit or energy or whatever you want to call it, and that your good is here right now. So this is it for the Infinite Elevation Hour on this January 31st, 2013 day. Tomorrow is February. I can't believe it. Time is moving quick. 2013 is here. Hope to hear from you guys. Let us know if you ever want to be on the show. We're here for you. If you have a book out, let us know about it. Whatever you're doing, let us know. We will promote it for you. This is about love. This is about everybody working in the universe to work with one another to bring out your gifts and your goals. This is 2013, and this is the Infinite Elevation Hour. We'll see you next time. Stay blessed.